Hello and welcome to PTV World's special transmission on the developing situation between India and Pakistan. I'm Maqbool, and today we're going to be taking a look at how the situation is evolving after, of course, the Pahalgam attack, which is condemnable and, of course, something that Pakistan has offered condolences for. But in a series of measures taken by India unilaterally and in violation of international norms and traditions, we've seen that Pakistan, of course, responded with reciprocal measures and, of course, alongside responsibility and restraint. But it must be clear, as has been made clear by the leadership, both the civil and military leadership of Pakistan, that if there is any move toward Pakistan, any misadventure that is undertaken, Pakistan will be responding with full preparedness and resolve, and that if India thinks that it can start the war, it will be Pakistan who is going to end it. And this is important, particularly in the way that, of course, the concern is spreading worldwide with reference to two nuclear armed states moving towards escalation. We've seen that a number of countries have been approached by Pakistan as well, and a number of other diplomatic engagements are also underway, with countries also calling for de-escalation, and then, of course, moving forward with the possibility of regional peace and security. How much of that is even possible, especially with regards to the kind of rhetoric and irresponsible statements that we've been seeing coming in from India, along with false allegations and, of course, a lack of evidence that has been given towards Pakistan. This is very, very important given how the scenario actually evolves and what sort of way forward it will undertake, particularly, of course, how one side is reacting to the situation. So we're going to be taking a closer look at what that means, and, of course, Pakistan's efforts to put forward the truth and bring forward the facts to the surface and share that with the international community. And at the same time, of course, we've seen press conferences held by the Deputy Prime Minister and the DGISPR earlier as well, reiterating that it is implausible with the ways that India has accused Pakistan, and, of course, with clear evidence this has been pointed out and clarified and put to the attention of the national and international media as well. We're, of course, going to also be exploring the way that different countries such as the US are also engaging in the current conversation, and how much of an impact will that create, along with, of course, international platforms such as the UNSC, which we have seen previously, of course, also perhaps not being able to bring forward the kind of consequence to India's unilateral action such as that of 2019 in the past. So what is going to be the impact that can be created this time around, and how we can make that difference will be the focus of our transmission today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Pitafi and Raja Faisal, and we've also been joined in the studios by leader PMLN, Rana Iradat. Thank you very much for joining us and being a part of the discussion. And Rana, let me start with you with reference to what has been going on. We know that the Prime Minister and the state and the leadership is making a lot of efforts in bringing forward the facts and letting everybody know what really is going on and what India's designs are like, with the reference to the links to terrorist networks. And we've been engaging with different countries around the world and our partners and allies in this regard. But I want your take in terms of the kind of responses that we're getting so far, and what do you think can possibly be the role that these countries can play in de-escalating the current situation?
Thank you, Sana. As you have seen, that Pakistan is a responsible nation and it is using diplomatic channels to diffuse this crisis, and Pakistan is getting positive responses throughout. And as you have seen, there is, unlike past, there is a lot of questions being raised within India and internationally regarding the claims which Indian government and media have been making. So the government of Pakistan is fully aware that India, whenever such incidents happens, India always labels such allegations against Pakistan without any shred of evidence, and the government is acting to make sure that the Indian false flag operation and other things are exposed internationally, so that in future, when India cannot use these things against Pakistan, because India has a long election cycle and there are a lot of domestic issues behind which India tries to hide after using these crises.
Right, absolutely. And that is very, very important given the ways that we are seeing the current situation developing. And Faisal, I want your take as well on this, because we've seen the PM talk about the endorsement that is coming in from China, for example, of the independent probe that Pakistan is, of course, very, very confident of and is asking, and it should be done. But in terms of the influence that can possibly be exerted over the Indian side, where can we actually see that happening? Which country or which ally can possibly play that role?
Yes, and obviously when we look at today's India, the influence it is attracting from is, of course, from the Americans. Reason being, they are acting as American ally against the Chinese in the region, in obviously South China Sea. And when we obviously take the example of India procuring most of their stuff, most of their weaponry, defense or offensive, whatever, they are of course procuring it from the Western countries, and now of course they see themselves very closer to the Western countries. And in this whole context, of course, since yesterday when we have seen that Marco Rubio, Secretary of the State, he is involved now, and I'm pretty much sure that he will be talking to the the Indian side as well. They already know that Pakistan does not need any of the escalation, and Pakistan is of course requiring a probe, non-biased probe into whatever has happened in Pahalgam. And to me, I think Pakistan has taken a very sober step forward, and Pakistan in this whole scenario, since Pahalgam attack, whatever has been happening, of course Pakistan has made sure that it reacts and respond to it with a very responsible attitude. And Pakistan has shown the world that Pakistan is a mature country, and Pakistan does not get into any of the war hysteria of a country, which we have been seeing from the Indian side. Indian media, Indian government, Indian politicians, BJP politicians, they have been going to places, and of course they have been slurring the allegations against Pakistan, baseless allegations, and them allegations, they need to be probed. And at the same time, I would recommend that Pakistan should offer the world powers to come to Pakistan as well and probe the Jafar Express incident as well, because in that Jafar Express incident, there were of course direct linkages between the Indian proxies in the region, be they in Afghanistan or be they in somewhere in Iran, hiding out there, and of course supporting all of these BLA and BLF terrorists and TTP terrorists. Of course they are they are financing and facilitating terrorism in Pakistan. This all needs to be probed. And when it comes to countries like China, they are playing an excellent role in the region as well as in the world. And I think it was a brilliant step forward from Pakistan side to present itself for any probe, number one, and number two, to engage with the world powers so that this war hysteria, this warmongering gets no future and doesn't get ignited. Everyone must know that in today's India, of course, they are experiencing elections. As my worthy guest, he has highlighted that the process of Indian elections is a very lengthy process. So during these lengthy processes of the elections in India, of course, they touch these kind of lines to garner their vote support on the ground. And when they do that, of course, they cross the limits, they cross the borders, and they claim of crossing the borders towards Pakistan once a while as well. I think the crossing the borders or crossing the line of control bit, they need to be extra cautious about it. Pakistan is a nuclear state. Pakistan has a military that has been fighting war since more than 25 years, since more than 20 years, I must say. And in them 20 years, more than 20 years, of course, Pakistan's forces, be it naval, be it air force, or be it the military itself, all of them, they are well equipped of not only defending Pakistan at any length, they are even capable of offending any country wherever they want us to.
Right, absolutely. And Farooq, I want your perspective on this as well, because we are striving for regional peace and security, and while we are engaging with different diplomatic channels and calling for an independent investigation, how much of that is possible when we talk about the two players that are involved in this situation, with one being a responsible country and exercising restraint, and the other?
That is us.
And of course, that's us.
yeah.
And the other, of course, putting forward irresponsible statements, irresponsible actions, like you've said many times, jumping the gun, and with the way that this rhetoric is floating in. So will that work with what the situation is?
Absolutely, Sana, it will work.
Okay.
And I'm going to actually give you reasons for that as well. But boy, do I have information for you, so much
Great.
information. I have 5 pieces of information which are very important.
Okay.
Number one, remember that press conference that happened somewhere between the night of day before yesterday and tomorrow, yesterday morning, in which our information minister actually told the world, not only us, that within 24 to 36 hours there is a possibility of India's strike. So within, and this is news, no speculation, within hours, India scrambled its 2 Rafale planes to LOC, and they tried to actually come and check and try to cross. Because of our battle preparedness, they were deterred, and their return they scrambled off. So that is I think that protester might have avoided or helped us avoid a very important and unneeded dogfight which could have spiraled out of control. The number 2, and that is also very important, Indian media has been speculating about Pakistan's army chief and prime minister. You have just mentioned prime minister because he was also visible today. But they kept on speculating or misreporting, actually it was propaganda, that army chief has fled Pakistan. So producer Saab, if you can bring up that image, I think that is quite visible at this moment also, or maybe not. Army chief is there, but just now you will see him standing on a tank. So dear Indian media, this is Pakistan's army chief. This is what you call leading from the front. And unfortunately, your side doesn't seem to be doing that. But our leadership is actually leading really. And see, without cover, out and open, leading the men of Pakistan army. The third one, and that is again, now I hope you will not actually accuse me of fraternizing with the enemy if I praise Narendra Modi, and I do that because yesterday I told you about a baller move, the announcement of caste census that he actually went for. And there's a history about BJP and how caste Mandal report actually was one of the reasons why BJP took the darker turn towards Babri Mosque and all, right? But yesterday he announced, the caste census, and that has the potential of totally taking away the media's bitterness towards Pakistan and focusing it on caste census, right? So yesterday I told you that I was not sure whether Modi ji was doing it to actually for the concerns of public good, but today I actually I have told you many times that in America, in HSS, which is RSS's sister concern, I have friends, dear friends. So I checked with them, and they actually contacted India, and they told me that Modi ji has actually done this, and it is not a kind of distraction or ruse to take away Pakistan's attention, but serious concern that he wants to de-escalate. So that is
that was a deliberate move.
It might be, or it might not be, but the good thing is that it is exactly the kind of thing I would have done. Right? If you have, how many times have I mentioned Michael Caine and his quote, use the difficulty. Subvert whatever challenge you have and own it, right? There's a sociology of this move, but I think that it has the potential of correcting the wrongs in India, but also this obsession. India is actually always riled up about 2 things. One, Pakistan. The other one is, BJP's core constituency, Muslims versus Hindus. They needed that only as a distraction from the fact that India is a divided. India has these castes, and the forward caste which rules India does not want a census. So Modi ji actually pulling this off is amazing. This is ninja style, and I have become a fan. I tell you, I've been trying to do that for quite some time. Didn't happen. Another sign of possibility of de-escalation. Remember that many times you and I actually spoke, and I mentioned that the country does not have a national security advisor. So now Pakistan has put its money where its mouth is, right? Our DGISI has also been given an additional charge of NSA. It is an advisory position, although there is a division linked to it. It is called NSD, National Security Division. But the fact that such an empowered person will also be NSA, and that means that there is a possibility that there might be some interaction between Indian side and Pakistani side. The final one. Today, Amit Shah actually spoke. Amit Shah ji, when he was speaking at a ceremony, instead of actually talking about Pakistan, he only focused on perpetrators, right? And that we are going to apprehend them no matter what. So that also actually goes to what I've been trying to tell you, that there is a solution. Localize it, focus on that, show it as an accomplishment, and then start negotiating with Pakistan. By the way, one question that was in my mind, and I kept on thinking about it, was that what exactly will Indian media do, and whether they will be, they will continue this war path and this jingoism. So I'm going to quote that friend of, HSS, and this is in Urdu Hindi, whether they will de-escalate or not.
Okay.
Quote, and I quote him, unka baap bhi karega. So I think that there is going to be de-escalation now.
All right, and that of course is the hope, because that's what any rational and sovereign peaceful would opt for. But of course we just want to make it clear that if there is any such incident, we'll respond. And Rana Sahab, I want your take on this also, because when we talk about de-escalation, it is of course very, very important for both the countries to understand and acknowledge what's going on. Given the kind of political developments that Farooq was also pointing out, what are you looking at in terms of the signs coming out from India of that potentially happening, given the kind of rhetoric and the public outcry and the way the media is responding and always does? Will there be a way for the BJP government to have some sort of face saving out of this?
Thank you. As Farooq Sahab has pointed out, a lot of questions are also being asked in India regarding whether if it is a truly a false flag operation, and if there are many people how it actually the terrorists managed 400 miles from the LOC. So there are a lot of security concerns and questions being asked. So de-escalation of the given situation is very important, because Pakistan, it has always been a peace-loving country, and Pakistan always promotes peace, and Pakistan always acts very responsibly in such crises. And as Farooq Sahab has also pointed out regarding the appointment of NSA, and so that is a step forward by Pakistan, that Pakistan is willing and ready for any. Pakistan itself in fact proposed that an international inquiry should be held, so actually the perpetrator should be punished. So Pakistan is actually a very cooperative country in this regard, and Pakistan has even in past, when there was a Pathankot incident, Pakistan former JIT and Pakistan team went over there, but not enough evidence was provided to it. So Pakistan is actually saying that bring evidence, which India has so far failed to do. So India is just using it to hide atrocities in Kashmir. In fact, when after this attack, more than 2,000 Kashmiris have been arrested on basis of suspicion. So India has to change course, and it will change course, because this kind of behavior is not very much sustainable.
I understand what you're saying, but we've seen previously also, for example, in 2019, the kind of unilateral actions that have been taken. And I understand the world is concerned at this moment for things to de-escalate. But given the ways that we have seen that happen without real accountability or consequence, despite the fact that it was so obviously a move that was in violation of the resolutions of the UN Security Council, of international norms and traditions, but it has been sustained till now in 2025. We still haven't seen anything happen with that regard. So where are we actually lying our hopes with what international platform or with what international group or country or region that can potentially hold India accountable or see some consequence? Because like you said, there could still be de-escalation, but we have already seen things happen that are not okay and that are in violation. For example, what is happening with the people of Kashmir in the occupied valley. So who's going to hold India accountable for that?
The international community should hold India accountable. Pakistan has been raising the issue of Kashmir and the atrocical and genocidal regime that is being established over there, and Pakistan has been following up at UN Security Council and all other international forums and other international powers. So Pakistan expects the international community and all the leading global players to hold India accountable and play their role in this de-escalation of the situation.
Right. Faisal, I want your take on this too, because while we have spoken about the fact that Pakistan has pushed for a neutral investigation, an independent investigation, again, the question would arise as to who's actually going to do that, and whether or not India will be able to allow that for happen, and how do we ensure that that does happen, because that is what needs to be done when there is a country who's violated what has been going on, and we have of course evidence with the way it's involved in terrorist network and state-sponsored terrorism, and then falsely and baselessly accusing another country of having links with terrorist incidents inside their territory. So where do you think that there is a possibility of that independent investigation taking place? Who can be part of that India will also allow?
Yeah, Sana, obviously when we talk about whatever has happened in Pahalgam attack, of course, who is going to be coming in between to make sure that both of the parties are satisfied with it? First of all, I don't think India would be asking anyone to come inside and probe that. Before that takes place, of course, they just want to exhaust all of this pressure which was initially built by them. And why? Because there are certain reasons. And as Farooq has come up with the excellent points today, and he has done an excellent work, and I was thoroughly impressed. Yesterday,
I'm beginning only.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. See, we have been very responsible.
Yeah.
Pakistani media has been very responsible, and we were just bringing the facts as Farooq has brought the facts today. We are now not shooting somebody in the air and create a havoc out of the people from both sides of the line of control, and we have been bringing the truth. On 30th, we got the agenda points for the obviously the CCS that took place in India, and the agenda points, I just want to read through the agenda points of their CCS.
Yeah.
Number 1, addressing domestic political and public sentiment. Number 2, defense procurement and preparedness. Number 3, response to global support and geopolitical strategy. Number 4, strengthening internal security in Jammu and Kashmir. Number 5, progress on counter-terrorism operations. Number 6, review of diplomatic measures against Pakistan. And guess what happens on the 1st of May? And what happens is that they come up with the 3 resolves. Number 1, defense procurement. They are going to increase the defense procurement. As we discussed yesterday as well, they are going to increase the defense procurement, and of course this would carry hell lot of kickbacks for BJP politicians, because if they are going for another 26 of the Rafales, my God, we are talking about billions of dollars worth of corruption money, which would be, of course, garnered and which would be taken by the BJP politicians. And number 2, rise in Kashmir operations. There would be a significant rise in inside Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the poor Kashmiri people who have been facing the brute force, the brute rogue military of Indians. Of course, we know that there is a number of troops is 900,000 along with the CRPFs. along with the JK police, which they consider that it's the local police. No, it is being, of course, run by the Hindutva ideology, and they are, of course, against the Muslims, and that is why we will be seeing that there will be a rise in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir of catching people, of torturing people, and whoever dies during the torture, we will be seeing that they will be coming up with or there were 5 militants, they've been cornered and they've been shot dead, and these people would be the ones who would be the youthful Kashmiris taken up for questioning and then later on tortured, and whoever dies in the torture, they simply put the bullets through their bodies and they'll throw their bodies and claim that these were the terrorists. And number 3, IWT reversal. You know why? Because they have simply said that the diplomatic measures which India is coming up with against Pakistan, it is not only going to be a havoc for India itself to control them waters. The biggest reason is that there would be the world powers, they would not be standing with India on this at all. Reason being, it is entire, they have discussed this in their meeting, that it is going to be not only against Pakistan but against the ancient civilization of Indus River, and this is going to affect not only the humans but it is going to affect the animals, it is going to be affecting the birds as well. So bird habitat and the animal habitat of this particular region, it is going to be affected. And of course there are organizations who have already raised the alarm bells on this, that this is something India can't do. That is why they are revisiting their initial slogans of pani band kar diya, as if it is a sort of slogan match in a gali mohalla, where they are making sure that the other one is feeling the heat out of it. In a country like India, where people simply listen to slogans and simply say, oh, Jai BJP or Jai Modi ji, Jai Modi, what they want to hear? They want to hear this kind of stuff. They want to hear this kind of stuff, that Modi ji ne pani band kar diya. So that's what they are coming up with. It is, equation is going back to where it started, number 1. But number 2, I am very worried about people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Reason being, they are going to face the further brute force of Indian military, Indian rogue military's presence in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and that is what we need to highlight it now. Because if we talk about the Indian war hysteria, I think it's gone, done and dusted. I mean, they are not they're not courageous enough at all when it comes to entering in or crossing in towards Pakistan, the line of control. The moment they cross, they know that they will be getting a bloody nose, as they had in February 2019. This time around, if they have prepared with the Rafales or with the S-400s, Pakistan hasn't been silent. Pakistan hasn't been sleeping since February 2019. Pakistan has prepared itself with the J-10Cs, with the modified JF-17s Thunders, with what? With more than 100 PL-15s, and they are scared of PL-15s. That's why they don't want to risk their Rafales pushing them up in the air and crossing the line of control, because they know that they will be bringing a bad name to Rafale company.
Farooq, and of course I'm sure you have something to comment on that as well. But add to that, when we talk about the way that the media is influencing people's opinions in India, I understand that there are voices that are dissenting and disagreeing with the BJP government, but there is a lot of influence, of course, that exists, that is coming from Indian media, a lot of influence that the BJP government or the Prime Minister himself also has over the public. And so while we have the kind of slogans that Faisal is pointing towards, how is it
I'm
that...
sorry, was he actually pointing to or chanting?
I was pretending, right, the way they do it.
So I want to understand then for
because I'm the one who is going to now chant. Okay.
Yeah.
right. So for the political, the government and the setup that exists in India, how will the followers of BJP, the followers of Hindutva ideology, the people who have been part of this warmongering, then behave with this change of course, if we may say, that is coming in, and how will the BJP government be able to navigate that?
Right, and I think that is very important question regarding Indian media. You understand that Indian media actually has a lot of influence among the people, and then Modi government has a lot of control over media.
Yeah.
So if they want, media can change its tune, and tomorrow we will be their best but others, right? Let me give you a very simple disruption. They don't care about humans on this side of the LOC or India-Pakistan border, but there are cows here also. Yeah. Do they want them to be nuked as well, right? So there's always a way to actually calibrate it. Unfortunately, yesterday he frequents a blog show, and yesterday, because they have banned now Pakistanis from participating, I'm not going to mention his name, but yesterday he was actually war gaming on air.
Yeah.
He had 4 or 5 retired generals.
And by the way, they didn't ban me. I was there today.
Okay, congratulations. So you have actually gone through the divide. But by the way, regarding the talk they were having was astounding, right? They had no idea of how you war game, right? So after that, I stopped watching Indian media. All I do is watch Pakistani memes because they give me a good chuckle, a good laugh.
We're responding with humor.
And
better
then,
entertainment than that.
and then they actually show their content as well.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a reaction. By the way, I wanted to actually, give a shout out to the people who have actually played a huge role. The first person that, apart from our close allies, China has been standing with us like this, right? And Turkey also, Arab world has, and Iran also actually very quickly moved and spoke about this matter. But President Trump's decision to actually ask Secretary Rubio to actually talk to both sides. And today, actually, Rajnath Singh also spoke to Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of Defense. So that is a game changer. And I think that after that, India seems to have actually lost that brinkmanship edge, at least in the policy circles. I hope it stands that way, because there's always irrationality also. But I think that President Trump, and remember a few days ago you asked me about him, and I said I trust his judgment implicitly.
Yeah.
So that has been proven. But regarding another very important thing that was there, I was talking about caste census. So Indian media had the news, but they did not have the context, right? Before these important meetings or cabinet meetings, after which the caste census was announced, there was a meeting between Mohan Bhagwat, who is the head of RSS, and Modi ji as well, at his home, by the way. And they kept on thinking perhaps India is starting with nukes and something of that sort. And then there was an interaction between Modi ji and also Rahul Gandhi too. By the way, caste census used to be a slogan that was actually flagged and put at center stage by Rahul Gandhi. But there is a clear desire to improve the lot of Indian people, because Mohan Bhagwat must have supported this idea of caste census, right? Because RSS is now a big body. It includes Dalits, OBCs also, even Muslims and other even Christians as well. So if that is so, what is the fight about?
Yeah.
The whole idea of externalizing India's troubles and blaming Pakistan for them was a distraction. And now it is gone. Now you are embracing your own people. All those people who were left out of the system, those Dalits who were not given part of the main pie of power in the government, or for that matter, in media and elsewhere, academia also, they will be actually given that kind of entry, right? So shout out to these good people if they continue to be good. Right? Of course, people can change, things, directions can change also. So, regarding the solution, I promise you two things on the first day.
Okay.
I said that we have narrative advantage and we are going to have narrative dominance. That was established. You can see, right?
Yeah.
The second thing was that I promised, although I am an ordinary man, I said that unity of command and rallying behind this with the national command will also be seen. And that has happened. India could have done many number of things if we were divided, Sana.
Yeah.
It has happened in the past. But this time, thanks to our army, our politics, our leaders, our force readiness actually, and by the way, I mentioned that also it will be something like Balakot will be a big risk, because big mistake I said, because look at our force posture, and that posture actually shows everywhere. I mean, they were having this fantasy about maritime blockade. Our Navy is actually even there showing its presence and telling them how effective we are.
Very aggressive moves.
Very good maneuvers actually. So the point is, why actually keep on fighting in such a momentous time when so much is changing, right? I mean, we live in perhaps the most momentous era since Toba volcano eruption, when everything changed. AI is coming. So many nuclear countries actually having conflicts. Israel is a nuclear country with Palestine. Then Russia is a nuclear country with Ukraine. And here, 3 nuclear countries actually sitting next to each other, right? Any kind of devastation is possible. But then there are endless possibilities also. If we actually start talking, so my solution, my formula first day, because I told you that they have jumped the gun and they have made a huge mistake. What? You don't actually suspend or hold in abeyance something like IWT at a time when you don't even have the evidence, right? You haven't apprehended the actual perpetrators. You have no way to tell us how did they cross from the thicket of security forces at the length and breadth of Jammu and Kashmir, from LSE across to 200 kilometers inside, right, where this place is. So it makes no sense. Because they have done it, I told you that there are 3 things that will happen. Should happen. Localize the matter. Look for the terrorists, punish them. Find them and punish them. That gives your tiger the kind of meat that it has been demanding, that jingoism side.
Yeah.
Second, we have so many multiple partners. I mean, amazing number of countries. We have common friends. Pick anyone. Use their good offices for your team and our team to sit. Now you have a very competent NSA. Now we have a very competent NSA also, right? Let us talk and sort things out. If there are serious concerns, they can be taken care of.
Yeah.
The only concern, and that is in Pakistan's mind, because India has been repeatedly talking about Akhand Bharat and then Asia 2025 and all that, that somehow through stealth they are going to just take over Pakistan or try to take over Pakistan. That won't happen, right? Pakistan, India, one day becoming potential allies is the best you can get. And that now it is your job to redefine Akhand Bharat as that. That there are 2 allies and Indians can come to Pakistan without any problem. Pakistanis can go to India without any problem.
But is there that sort of thinking? Will they think like that?
Look, we are part of a generation that has been actually forged by crisis after crisis. We know what pain is. We know what suffering is. We know what conflicts do to people and nations. So we don't want them to suffer. I hope that in their mind, and by the way, here comes the biggest problem, and that is, my issue is not with Hindutva. My issue is not with their radical side. My issue is with their elites and their so-called moderate elites. because their hatred which showed during this crisis is, I mean, equivalent to how you would react to what you do when you see a cockroach or what I do when I see a lizard. You can't have that kind of hatred towards anybody. We are human beings, you are human beings. We see your humanity, you see ours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we can do that,
Yeah.
sky is the limit. Why should we keep on actually creating these animosities when we can work together and you can get every strategic advantage of having an ally? Remember, 1962 was a huge turning moment in their region's history. China and India fought a war. Because of that, there was this cleavage, and then there was 65 war.
Yeah.
Had that not happened, there was a huge possibility that Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai and Pak Hindi Bhai Bhai could also happen.
Yeah.
Right? And if that would have happened, this region, I have also already shown you or told you about the simulation where all three of these countries, any of them, is struck by fourth party's nuke. And what happens to the other two? Because of the impact, right? So the idea of actually working as counterweight to each other or trying to train weapons at each other makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely.
So now-
One question. How do you know I'm scared of cockroaches? Faisal, go ahead.
Some things are universal truth.
Perhaps.
Sana, I just wanted to highlight, as we know that BJP's politics revolves around fear and hate. At the same time, Indian media revolves around fear and hate. And today I was posed with a question, and of course on the other side there were three generals sitting, and they were saying that we made your immediate boss, of course they were talking about the information minister Ataullah Tarar, to wake up at the 3 o'clock in the night, and of course he did the press conference. This is what you call India, today's India. Then I said to them,
By the way,
then I said to them,
who the hell says he sleeps?
then I said to them that our Minister of Information was doing nothing more than his job, because this is what and this is how a minister of an atomic power should be behaving like.
Yeah.
And if he was right in the middle of the night awake and ready to do his job, it means that Pakistan was responsible enough during whole of this warmongering that you were doing, and Pakistan's information minister made sure that nothing wrong happens in the region.
Right, absolutely. Rana sir, just concluding remarks from you, particularly also about what Farooq was pointing out, given the fact that we're very, very essential ingredient is that we're not divided on this front, and another resolve is, of course, to have this unanimous stance. How much of a role has been played by both the civil and military leadership in this regard?
The civilian military leadership has played a very crucial and very important role, and because it has shown that in Pakistan, whenever the issues of national security are concerned, we are all united and there is no disagreement across the board, whether it's like the political side or the military side. So Pakistan is very much united on this front. And as far as my parting thoughts are, that Pakistan is a very responsible nation, and its desire for peace and de-escalation should not be seen as its weakness. Pakistan is very prepared for any kind of action, and Pakistan has the right to retaliate accordingly, but Pakistan is still a responsible nation and it wants that matters should move forward accordingly, and Pakistan has proposed an international inquiry of the entire incident so that whoever is responsible and they should be brought to the book. And India, instead of focusing on inquiry and bringing evidence, it's just trying to hide behind the situation to cover its security lapses as well as to gain benefit during the upcoming elections in Bihar.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rana sir, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. Farooq and Faisal, you're with me for the next hour. We're going to take a short break for the headlines and be right back.